Hi, today I'm reading the third section in the book The Art of AVRT by Jack Trimpey. If you don't know what AVRT and Rational Recovery are, it's a completely different approach to addiction than AA. And just so you know, in this section of the book, he expects that you know what the word beast and AVRT mean. So if you're unfamiliar with those terms, please click on the link below and I'll take you to Virginia's story and that'll give you a good review about what those terms mean. So let's begin. I'm going to be reading from page 87 to 105, but I'm going to be skipping around a little bit. So the art of the big plan. This chapter is a shakedown tour to prepare you for your plunge into the afterlife. Not life after death, but life after addiction. Your beast sees your big plan as a death trap, but to you, your big plan to quit is the key that opens your prison door. Addiction is a prison without locks because the exit cannot be seen through the eyes of addiction. There is an obvious door marked with the sign "Never Again," leading out of the prison. But guess who is the prison warden? Of course, it's Warden Beast. And the beast is not trying to escape at all, because all of its desires are being met by you, its slave. Often you venture near the door leading out to the prison, but when you look out, it is through the eyes and explanations of Warden Beast, which sees a dry, barren land, a death trap. As you peer through the door, you feel the beast's fear and pull back, horrified by the prospect of lifetime abstinence. Now the tables are turned and you're ready for a great escape. You have acquired a secret underground publication, The Art of the AVRT, which another inmate smuggled into the prison, and you have learned the art of shifting. Now you know that you have two sets of eyes, one set for seeing in the darkness of addiction, and the other for seeing in the light of human consciousness. You're still in prison, but now you want to see with your own eyes what's behind the unlocked prison door. You head for the door for your first glimpse of freedom in many years, and you suddenly feel the return of hope for a life of your own, free at last. Your first surge of hope will not last, however. Through the door, you see the outside for the first time in many years. You feel such a passion to almost be free, but now Warden Beast comes to you and says, "What you'll see through the door is false. If you go through it, you'll have a honeymoon experience. There is a good reason for you being in this prison, and if you leave, you'll just be out there alone, forsaken, yearning for your prison yard. You'll be miserable every moment until you come crawling back, crying for me to let you back in. Go if you must, but I'm a loving beast, and I'll always be here for you, as you will see." As though punched in the gut, you feel the loss of hope again, and the warden continues. "I'm afraid you're setting yourself up for a great fall, and you shouldn't take on more than you can handle. Maybe you need a home visit to learn the truth, that you are congenitally defective, in need of supervision and external controls. Just never say never. And be sure to meet every evening with other parolees like you who know beyond a doubt that they don't have what it takes to live an independent life and free life." Such deception, such evil, but this time you understand what lies out there, and it isn't what the beast sees at all. Go now to the door and let's both take a look at how it is beyond the prison of your addiction. It's foggy out there. Through the fog you can see some vague, familiar outlines of what lies before you. People and places you can now see in 3D by shifting on them. You see folks you care about, but whom the beast hates. You see people the beast loves, but to you look seedy and lowbrow. You face an uncertain future, and you have a whole lot of problems to solve. And where the beast sees overwhelming obstacles, you see practical problems that you'll calmly tackle and solve. Now you have a sense of balance because you're in your right mind. At last, you're almost free. Try this on for size. What is your plan for the future use of alcohol and other drugs? Are you going to use again in this lifetime, or are you not? Recite this. I will never drink, use again. Notice the uneasy feeling in your gut. You can hear it talking to you right now, telling you that this is stupid, impossible, too simple, too good to be true, not for you, don't get pushed around, and so on. That thinking is your warden speaking, the beast. If you can't quite feel the beast, or can't hear its addictive voice, think about never again drinking, using, or getting high on anything. Think about how that would affect you. How would you enjoy yourself? What would you do in your spare time? Who would you hang out with? How would you celebrate important occasions? What would you become? Notice how difficult it is to imagine a satisfactory life without the option to drink and use. Only addicted people have that problem. For many years you have been living in this bubble of addiction where everything, good or bad, goes better with or after a drink or fix. If you say, I don't know, or I don't want to drink or use anymore, or I hope I don't have relapses, these comments are also just polite ways of saying that you definitely will continue to drink and use anytime you really feel like it. If you love life in addiction, have at it. Choose addiction, and you're free at last to drink, use without all the hassles, internal conflict, and struggle. I respect your honesty and hope that you get all the addictive pleasures you pay for, because the price will be high. But be sure to tell others of your decision so they can protect themselves from you. Warden Beast recovery groups and substance abuse counselors will always be there for you, and you can always find a rehab, funny farm, or rubber room, or jail cell for those really bad times. However, you will never again be able to complain about the nasty outcomes of your drinking using because you are now on record as willfully choosing to continue your addiction with full knowledge of the great risks to which you are exposing yourself and others. Addiction truly is a choice. Your beast is no friend. It's your worst enemy you'll ever face in this lifetime. If you don't kill it, it will kill you, one way or the other. Worse, it will make you miserable until you finally die. It attacks everything, says anything, risks everything to preserve your option to drink and use. Your big plan to quit is the betrayal of the beast, and it's out to get you and coming straight at you right now. The beast will call you a liar. It will tell you that you are just setting yourself up for a big fall, and after all your failures, you've proved beyond any doubt that you are doomed, powerless over your bodily desires. Remember that, along with the powerless illusion, the disease illusion, the addicto-depressive condition is one of the illusion locks in the prison of addiction. Recovery groups where millions of depressed, tentatively sober people gathered nocturnally have labeled the addicto-depressive condition as dry drunk. Dry drunk, literally transforming that benign condition into the curse of the beast. The beast intimidates addicted people to never say never, using the dry drunk myth, which predicts that if you just quit drinking or using without engaging in a massive lifelong self-improvement project, you'll become a miserable, angry person who craves a fix day in and day out, year after year, becoming more and more crazy and incapable of any peace of mind or happiness. The truth, however, is that the addictive depressive condition is the only thing that stands between you and freedom. Walk through the door of your big plan to quit, and you will walk into freedom and dignity, leaving the curse of the beast behind. The heat is on the beast. If you can't hear your addictive voice, just keep thinking about the idea of never drinking or using again, and you'll hear it loud and clear. Look for the emotional recoil when you think never. The beast will tell you this AVRT stuff is ridiculous, and that after all your failures, it can't be this easy or this simple. It may laugh at you, or you might hear the beast in your thoughts calling you a liar, or it may tell you that Jack Trimpey is a dry drunk and rational recovery is crazy. That's the nature of the beast. It attacks your character, your self-confidence, your hope, and it will tell you that you are just setting yourself up for a big fall, and after all your failures, you've proved beyond any doubt that you are powerless over your bodily desires. It will tell you that you can't just make your mind up just because. Chapter 7, The Big Gun. Through the eyes of the beast, your moral conscience appears to be an evil curse placed upon you by your family. You know there are some acts that are always wrong, many of which are against the law, while the rest are against traditional social values. On the other hand, the beast will argue endlessly that morality is too shameful for open discussion, and what's wrong for one may be fine for another. It will give you examples of others who use without ill effect, and equate your self-intoxication with theirs, not realizing it is sealing its fate by that comparison. Of course you are aware that you aren't like other people who drink, use without ill effects, and that for you, Self-intoxication is profoundly wrong, in every sense of the word. Your beast has no shame of its disgusting agenda. For your sake, I hope you do have shame. Guns are necessary to win freedom and to keep the peace, and it's important to have the biggest gun. Big guns demoralize the enemy and keep the peace won by victory. Although the beast holds a greater truth, you hold a bigger gun, your moral conscience. After all, the beast can't do a damn thing without your will to do it. Animals are instinctively afraid of humans, especially humans with guns. Likewise, the beast of addiction has only one fear, your moral authority. It knows it's dependent upon you for its survival, and it knows your gun is loaded with the silver bullet. Never. The greater truth held by the beast is the code of DNA, which defines the natural survival function of brain structures. Your entire biology is devoted toward replication of your DNA, so it is quite natural that your brain functions very well in its natural unconscious state. I did it again. I'm sorry, I keep losing my place. As a conscious Homo sapien, you may learn certain social skills which contradict. As a conscious Homo sapien, you may learn certain social skills which contradict natural desires such as sex, aggression, stealing, etc. But in a moment of stress, your body takes over and defends itself from injury, deprivation, and death. Drowning swimmers often kill their would-be rescuers by pulling them down with them. So let's say that your beast holds the greater truth under normal circumstances. However, there may come certain moments when we may freely choose to remain in a burning building, if there is sufficient reason, in principle, for doing so. The firemen of 9/11 did exactly that. This is human consciousness, the ability to act independently from bodily desires, even under stress. However, human consciousness of moral truth is weaker in the sense that consciousness itself is a fragile crucible of free will that may be broken unless tended to with great loving care. The most vivid example of this fragility is seen in the birth of the beast, when your entire family identity was wiped away during a storm of torrential pleasure. Once you are fully recovered, the beast will remain a potential threat forever contained by the fragile vessel of human consciousness. Your moral conscience, which switches your voluntary muscles into neutral while the beast screams out its greater truth of physical survival. Thus, in AVRT-based recovery, part of the abstinent commitment effect is your enduring love of universal family values that distinguish human beings from animal beings. If you want to feel your beast's fear of your big gun, think the word never, as in I will never drink again. Feel the beast tremble before your moral authority. As mentioned earlier, the art of AVRT is the art of war, applied to mental combat against the beast. To win, it is necessary for you to have the wisdom to shoot to kill a living being which is able to speak and perhaps plead for its life, while you can feel its terror in your own body. You may wonder, guns, killing, how extreme, how radical. Maybe this isn't for me after all. Of course, this is your addictive voice, a very frightened beast which has discovered the lethal intent of AVRT, addictive voice recognition technique. Your beast is a predator stalking you to the grave, so you must decide to either defend yourself or die the hard way. Right or wrong? There are two senses of these words, one applying to situations, the other arising from moral reasoning. Even a monkey knows that a square peg is wrong for the round hole, but the idea that a square peg might be evil is beyond a monkey's comprehension. It's beyond a problem drinker's user's comprehension that drinking is immoral conduct. Considering all of your experience with alcohol and other drugs, is it right or wrong for you to drink use in the moral sense? You must answer this question right now for the simple reason that I'm asking the question right now. There are two possible answers, right or wrong, and whatever you decide, including not answering, is your answer. If it's wrong, fine. If you cannot figure out that for you, the act of drinking using is immoral conduct, then you are simply looking at the problem through the eyes of the beast, where morality is alien, from another world where ideas of morality are evil. How wrong? Let's drive a stake into the beast's heart. There are probably certain acts you will never do because they are so unspeakably wrong. Those acts are so heinous that you would take a bullet before committing them. Some examples are torturing children, murder, certain sexual offenses, treason, etc. Almost everyone, including addicted people, have a rudimentary level of moral functioning. Even crazy people won't do certain things. Go ahead right now and think of a thing or two that you know beyond any doubt that you are incapable of doing, purely because it's so revolting or disgusting or even think about. Having done that, you probably realize that there are many more acts which you cannot even consider doing because of the basic values you have learned as a child. In addition to being a lush, a drunk, a junkie, you also have a residual human nature that guides your moral reasoning. Since the birth of the beast, your moral conscience has been mostly dormant, appearing occasionally in moments of clarity when you see the depravity of your ways. Now apply your moral reasoning to answer this. How would you rate your drinking using on a scale of immorality, say from 0 to 10, with 10 being the most extremely immoral, way down on the list, near the top? If you have rated any act as more immoral than the act of self-intoxication, let me remind you that you cannot predict before you indulge what you will do under the influence, and you have already committed acts under the influence about which you still grieve. You may have a keen sense of morality, but once you are under the influence, how do you know you won't commit any particular act? It's a ghastly fact that the most serious crimes are committed under the influence by people without criminal records. In Nazi death camps, administrators provided vodka to inmates to prepare them to cart their brethren off to mass graves. By following reason and not some deep intuition that you're incapable of certain acts, you might conclude that alcohol and other strong drugs make us all somewhat more susceptible to committing acts for which we later have found profound regrets. The reason for the bizarre childishness of group-based recovery is that all recovery groups refuse to acknowledge that self-intoxication by problem drinkers and other addicts is profoundly immoral conduct. As long as original denial of moral implications stays in effect, moral autopilot and the human moral conscience is impossible. Imagine a recovery group that condemned drinking and using as immoral conduct. Who would turn out for the second meeting? Review. The birth of the beast produces the first words of the infant beast. Ooh, anything that feels that good can't be wrong. That proclamation of innocence, original denial, is incorporated into the addictive voice for the duration of one's addiction. Although it seems you may be drinking, using for reasons other than sheer pleasure, perhaps to cope or deal with issues or to escape from bad feelings, those are only excuses or justifications momentarily on your mind to justify your intent to get high as a kite. That's not to say you don't have big problems. Heaven knows you've earned them. The fact is, when you decide to drink, use, open a bottle, or start fixing, you aren't thinking about your problems at all. You certainly may be dwelling on those problems, but as soon as you decide to have a little personal party to escape, you are as excited as a hog at feeding time, with urgent, excited anticipation of the coming feeding frenzy. Your blood alcohol and drug content is 0, but you're already on cloud 5, headed for cloud 9, cloud 17, or as high as your budget can take you. If you're feeling mighty fine before you drink, use, then how could you say you're using it to get rid of bad feelings? Admit this because you know it's true. The truth only hurts your beast, which cannot tolerate this exposure. It's time for you to reboot your moral conscience by reversing original denial of moral intent. The beast has no moral comprehension and is incapable of moral reasoning. You are not your body. You are not your beast. You are a human being distinguished from all other animals by human consciousness, free will, and moral reasoning. Even small amounts of alcohol or other pleasure-producing drugs will disable your moral judgment, transforming you into a dangerous wild animal. To set yourself loose on your fellow human beings in this ghastly condition is a crime against humanity. Is that overstated? Perhaps. Let's ask your beast and see what he thinks. what it thinks. Why, yes, it thinks the idea of getting high as a crime against humanity is ridiculous. What a hoot, ha ha ha. I know you can understand what beastly humor is, and this is no joke. Think about the crime against humanity idea and let it incubate now and from now on. With a little time, you may come to a better understanding of this idea. Do you really care if quitting your addiction is hard or easy? If you do care, then you won't do it, because your addictive voice will always direct you to any solution that doesn't require you to actually quit using altogether. You've remained addicted by worrying that quitting is too hard. You will be pleasantly surprised at how easy it is to permanently quit, but only after you actually do it. Chapter 8. Make up your mind. It will never be any easier than right now, so here goes. What is your plan for the future use of alcohol and other drugs? Are you going to use again in this lifetime, or are you not? Say the words out loud. I will never drink, use again. Drive it home. Say it again and believe it, and recognize the beast calling you a liar. Say, I will never drink again. Are you just hoping for the beast, or do you know you'll never drink again? The beast will demand evidence right now that you'll never drink again. It will remind you that you don't have a crystal ball to tell the future. Your beast expects you to answer riddles. All its riddles desperately needs dialogue with you. You owe the beast nothing. The R in AVRT is for recognition, not reply, not response. You need only hear or recognize AV, and neither heed nor reply at all. That's all. Will the beast quiet down? The death of the beast can be a noisy affair. You may hear lots of head noise today and for a while, until the beast gets used to captivity and defeat. Can you hear the addictive voice? If you do, great. As long as you can hear the addictive voice predicting you'll be worse off because of your big plan to quit, you're safe from the beast. Welcome the addictive voice. It's a sign of your health, your desire for pleasure and good feelings, but it's powerless. What could be more impotent than a mere desire? Feel the beast cringe? Let the poor thing suffer. It as payback. If you can feel the beast suffering right now and understand that the beast's suffering is not your suffering, but the suffering of your worst enemy, then you're home free. The beast, however, is a wimp. It's all badness with no guts. It obeys the laws of the jungle that require submission to superior force in order to survive. When face down, you are finally doing, it quits. When the beast gets the message of your big plan to quit, it will never drink use again. I will never drink use again. It will cut and run, collapse, and you'll actually feel it let go. This game is rigged for you. This is your moment. Your struggle is now over. Listen to the quiet of your mind. Feel the freedom. Notice your baseline anxiety is stilled. Feel the relief. The war is over. Be glad. Be very glad. From here on in, any sense of struggling, white-knuckling, or other sense of self-doubt about the lifetime of abstinence is just the death throes of the beast. Never fear the beast, for it is mere desire, powerless to fulfill itself. Gloat when you feel its pain. It's payback time. Okay, that's it for today. Please join me for more AVRT content, and good luck taming the beast.